Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Pastor Mike.
Good to see y'all again. You guys didn't have staff meeting last week. Jeremy gave you a Tuesday off. Nice. He was out gallivanting around, probably playing golf or some, early morning round.
Yes. You know me so well.
I do. So today I just want to kind of talk about, we've been talking about just different areas of our life, and today I want to talk about our time, managing our time. That's a tall order for all of us. What do we do with our time? And if I had to ask you, what takes up most of your time? What would some of your answers be? What takes up most of your time? As you think about, have you ever kept a time journal? You ever taken time to keep track of your time? For those that have done that, what did you find out? Anything interesting or?
I never had enough time.
You never had enough time to keep track of your time.
Well, we did it in the internship. We had a little thing where I didn't keep track of what I did, but it was like generalized of, what I did. And there was not enough for the plate.
The plate had no more spaces.
No more space.
And you still had things you needed to get done, right? So, but yeah, those that have kept track of your time, were you surprised at what you used the majority of your time for? Or was it kind of like, no, that pretty much is what I was thinking it would be?
I see how much time I waste.
Okay, yeah.
And go, oops.
Yeah. See, if I kept a time log, I wouldn't track those times. I'd only track the times that I'm doing something right.
I've been shocked at how, I think I'm concentrating more on one area.
Yeah.
Like when I actually track it and the number of times I start doing this
Yeah.
thing, and then I concentrate on this little area, but then something comes into my peripheral, and then so I switch, and then I'm going back. So then instead of I worked on this for an hour, it was actually 20 minutes, and the other time was this came in, this came in, and so
Distractions, bunny trails, all these. Yeah.
And a lot of times it's all things that are on my list.
Yeah.
But instead of
Oh yeah.
finishing one, going to the next, it's a little bit here and there. So I'm actually wasting that time because it's not getting done really as efficiently as
Right.
I could.
Yeah. That's good, Jeremy. Yeah. So what do you think you spend the most of your time on? Problems?
Yes.
Problem solving, hopefully, but problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, problems.
Yeah.
It does seem like the majority of the time just problems come up.
Yeah.
And so
It's true.
It takes a lot of time.
It does.
To solve my problems, other people's problems, all the problems that come. So
Yeah.
there's a lot just throughout our day.
Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
that pop up.
Yeah. That's good. Anybody else? You'd spend the most of your time doing it as you think about it.
I probably take way too much time on TV.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
watching.
attracted, but now since I have more time to actually do stuff, that is filled with TV.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's one thing as we got away, getting away is really important and good for a number of reasons. It helps you to break the cycle of things that you don't even realize you're doing, but you realize some of the things that you're filling your time with, that you're going, man, there's some more important things that I should be doing or I need to be doing with a family or family time. Obviously at work, when I ask the question, what do you spend the most of your time doing? I would dare say that most of us think about work because we spend a lot of time here, a lot of time at work, right? And then you can even evaluate that. Is that good? Because when you go home, how much time what are you doing with your time when you're at home? Like you were saying, Jonah, it's really good to evaluate that. But it's good at work to evaluate, what am I spending the most of my time doing at work? What am I at home? What am I doing with the majority of my time? Those type of things. And we've all heard these time-saving techniques, right? I mean, have you ever banked any time yet? Time-saving? Have you ever, I mean, actually, is that even really a real thing?
I don't think so.
I think it's just, well, it's a time saver. Yeah, right. You know, I think we're kind of, but we know time is one of the things that is one of our most valuable or limited resource, right? It's limited. We only get so much of it. Therefore, it becomes one of our most valuable commodities. And so it's really important that from time to time we take inventory of how we're using our time, just to kind of keep us on track. And in Ephesians chapter 5, it says that everything is exposed by the light, or everything exposed by the light is made visible. For what makes everything visible is light. Therefore it is said, get up, sleeper, and rise up from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Pay careful attention then how you walk, not as unwise people, but as wise, making the most of the time, or making the most of every opportunity, because the days are short, or the days are evil. And I think as we read this, obviously Paul is speaking to a group in Ephesus through this, but really as we look at the heart of the Father, I think what we get from this is just, I think one of the first things in our time is being fully awake. Being fully awake in our time. It's so easy that our time gets wasted away with just being distracted or unaware, or even daydreaming. Have you ever found yourself just kind of staring off? And usually when we daydream, or when we are having a hard time focusing, it's usually because we don't have a clear direction about something, right? We don't have clear vision for how we're going to get something done, or maybe we're just tired. I hear that in schools now, teachers are giving students, when a student comes into class, and if a teacher notices that the kid is just kind of despondent, or just kind of, just not engaged, they just go up and say, hey, is everything okay? And they're finding that with everything that's going on, kids are getting less sleep. And so with everything that's going on in the home, they're not resting as well. So they're actually just allowing them to put their head on their desk and just rest for a few minutes. And they're finding that it helps them to reacquire, so to re-engage, I should say. So, but this scripture passage, it says, we all know that we'll give an account for our life. As Christians, we'll give an account for our time that we did on earth, or what we did with it. And Christ already sees what we spend our time doing, so that accountability is not just with our employer or the people that are around us, but with God Himself. And then it makes a statement is that we don't want to just sleepwalk through life. You ever felt like you're just sleepwalking through life? It's just kind of like, it's just all a blur. Have you ever been driving and you don't even remember driving? You just end up at a spot, because we're just so distracted or so thinking about other things. That carries on throughout the day. If it can happen when we're driving and you think that would be the time you'd be most focused, it happens, when we're just going through our day. So this scripture about not being asleep, paying careful attention to how we walk, how we look at our life. So I guess my question is what do you have in place to help you manage your time well? I think about my life. There was a time when I was in college, I never had to keep a calendar, but I had a ton of deadlines and a ton of things to do, and had to be at the flight line at this time to fly, and had this paper due, and I was working 2 part-time jobs, but it just seemed like it just all was up here, and I didn't miss an appointment. But I don't know, it just seems like the more responsibility that I have, if I don't have something that helps me, like a calendar, or that helps, helps me keep track of things, then I can very easily mismanage my time before I know it, especially with the internet. It's so easy to be working diligently, and next thing you know, you're off on this tangent, right? So what do you have in place that helps you? Share with us maybe what do you do to help yourself manage your time wise?